Hey everyone, Chris here and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm here to share with you my TBR for Phase Out Your Seriesathon's Easy Board. So Phase Out Your Seriesathon is a year-long readathon that I have created. I will link the announcement video in the cards above. And there are two bingo boards, an easy one and a hard one. And I am here today to share with you my TBR for the easy board. As you can see, there is a variety of different prompts. I have a book for almost every prompt, and the one I don't, I will explain to you when I get to it. But let's kick things off. So first up, for want to visit, you need to pick a book that has a location you'd like to visit. This could be a real world or a fantasy world, and I'm going with a fantasy world and picking Silverborn by Jessica Townsend. This is the next book in the Nevermore series. I would love to visit Nevermore. It just seems so amazing. This world looks like it would be so much fun. So this is absolutely the world I would choose to visit if I could. Next, we have Animal. And for this, you just need to read a book with an animal on the cover. So I will be reading Finding Bear by Hannah Gold. I really enjoyed the first book in the series and was not expecting there to be a sequel. But when I saw there was, I knew it was something I needed to read. And as you can see, there is a bear on this cover. So can't wait to check this one out. For colorful cover, you need to read a book whose cover is just colorful. And for this, I'm going to read Kiki Kalari Conquers a Curse. This is the second book in the Kiki Kalari series. I really enjoyed the first one. And this book cover is just so colorful and vibrant. And I cannot wait to dive back into this one and rejoin Kiki's adventures. For trilogy, you need to read a book in a trilogy. So I'm going to read Momo Arashima, Duels the Queen of Death. This is a series where I may need to reread the first book to read the second one, but because of this readathon, it means I'm actually planning to get to the second one in 2025, so I think that is doable. Next, we have Small Book, and for Small Book, we need to read a book under 200 pages or the smallest book left in one of your series, and so for this, I'm going to read Fairies in the Forest by Lindsay Kelk. This is a Cinderella retelling, and I think it is perfect for young middle graders, so the books tend to be quite short. This should definitely be under 200 pages, and I look forward to diving back into this series. Next, for single POV, this is to read a book who has only one point of view, and I'm going to read Sticks and Scones. This is the 16th or 17th book in the Bake Shop Mystery series, and our main POV is Jules. This will get me close to, if not up to date on the series, depending on when I read it, because I wouldn't be surprised if a book or two comes out next year. So very excited to dive back into this one. Then for new, we need to read a book that is in some way new to us. So this could be you got it out of the library, you recently purchased it, somebody gave it to you, but it is new to you. And for this, I'm going to be reading Carving Shadows into Gold. This is the newest book by Bridget Kemmerer. It is the second book in the spin-off series from the Cursebreakers. I think this might just be called the Forging Silver into Stars series. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But this book comes out at the end of January, so it will absolutely be new to me. And I plan to read it in February so that it fulfills that prompt. For complete, you just need to read a book in a series where all the books are out. And for this, I'm going to read Flight. This is one of the books in the Septimus Heap series. There are 7 books in the series. All of the books are released, so I decided I was going to continue on with this series. For building, you need to read a book with a building on the cover, and for this, I'm going to read Gustav Gloom and the Nightmare Vault. This is a series I started earlier in 2024 and thought it was a very cute series and enjoyed the first book, so I'm looking forward to jumping back in and reading more with Gustav. For cozy, you just need to read a book that gives you cozy vibes. It's up to you how to define that. So I have kind of done this in a twofold sort of way. I've decided I'm going to read a cozy mystery from one of my favorite cozy series, which will give me those cozy vibes because it's also by an author in a series I love. And that is Forever After. This is the most recent book in the Magical Cats mystery series. This is probably my favorite cozy mystery series. So I'm super excited to be diving back in. For rep, you just need to read a book that has some sort of representation in it of some sort. And for this, I'm going to be reading Vivi Conway and The Haunted Quest. So this book has rep in the sense that Vivi is autistic. There is a character if I remember correctly, that uses they, them pronouns. So we have queer rep, and there is a character who is missing part of an arm. So we also have disability rep. And if memory serves from the cover, which I can't see right now as I'm filming, I have inserted it for you, but the cover for the first book, if I remember correctly, had a character of color on it as well. So I think I've got pretty much all of the categories of diversity covered. Next, for random number, you need to make a list of all the series you're in the midst of and use a random number generator to determine which series you're going to continue. And this is the one prompt I haven't done because it's still December. I don't know what series are going to be available come January because I am working diligently to finish some series before the end of the year. So this is a prompt that I will not fill until January 1st. Then we have free space. This you don't need to read a book for, but if you really want to, you can read any book in a series. So I'm not going to pick a book for this because I guarantee you at some point in the year 2025, I will be able to easily fill this space out if I wanted to with a book. 5 or more books. For this, you need to read a book in a series that has at least 5 books in it. So for this prompt, I have chosen Physic. I've already mentioned this series earlier in the video. It has 7 books, so seemed like a no-brainer to continue with the series. For TBR Vet, you need to read a book in one of the oldest series that you're in the midst of. And for me, I have my series spreadsheet tracker, which is linked in the Google Doc for this readathon if you are looking for a series spreadsheet tracker. And based on that, one of the oldest series I'm still reading is Aunt Dimity. So I'm challenging myself to read the newest book in the Aunt Dimity series, and the only one I haven't read, Aunt Dimity in the Enchanted Cottage. This will be interesting because I'm currently in the midst of a reread of the series, and this is like book 27 or something, and I'm on like book 7. So I've got a lot of books I need to read in this series before I can get to this one. But this would catch me up on the series, and that would make me very, very happy in 2025. Then we have nature. And for this, you need to read a book with nature on the cover. Plants, trees, grass. Can't be animals because we already have that in a separate prompt. So thinking more plants, flowers, that kind of thing. And for this, I'm going to read the 3rd book in the Green Wild series, The Forest in the Sky. There is all sorts of nature on the cover of this book, and I love this series and can't wait to continue it in 2025. In progress. So for this, you just need to read a book in a series that is still being published. And for this, I'm going to read Hark the Herald Angels Sleigh. This is a book in the year-round Christmas mystery series. And I really enjoyed the first book and want to continue to make progress on this series. So I thought it was perfect and gets me a nice little cozy mystery in there. Big book. Read a book that is over 500 pages or the longest book in a series on your TBR. And for this, I'm going to read Siren. This is another book in the Septimus Heap series. I'm trying to finish it. So I got as many of those books on this TBR as I possibly could. For fave color, you need to read a book that has your favorite color represented in some way on the cover of the book. For me, this is purple, so I will be reading Killer Bridal Party. As you can see, the entire bottom half of this cover is purple. This is the 2nd book, I believe, in the Firefly Junction series. I really enjoyed the first book, and I'm looking forward to continuing with the series. Excited for. This means to pick up a book in a series that you're really excited to get back to, or a book coming out in a series you're really excited for. So for this, I'm going to read The Enchanted Greenhouse. This is another series I started in 2024. The 2nd book comes out in 2025. So I want to keep it right up to date. I gave the first book 5 stars, so I'm very, very excited to get to this one, and I hope it's another one that'll give me a 5-star read in 2025. Backlist. So for this one, you need to read a book that was published before 2024. So I'm going to read Goblins and Gold by Lindsay Kelk. This is the 3rd, and as far as I know, final book in the series. So I will be doing twofold by being able to finish a series while also reading a backlist book. Adapted. So for this, you need to read a book in a series where there is a TV adaptation, a movie adaptation, or it is kind of based on another book. So like a retelling. And so for this, I'm going to read Library of Souls, because Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children was turned into a movie, so I can read any book in that series for this prompt, so I went with Library of Souls. So for people, you need to read a book with people on the cover, and so for this, I'm going to read Finn in the Time Traveling Pajamas. This is a humorous sci-fi series that I started in 2024. As you can see, there are several people on the cover of this book, and I thought it would be a fun addition to my TBR. For multi-POV, you need to read a book that has multiple points of view. And for this, I'm going to read A Memory of Light. I am doing the Wheel of Time along, and so I know I'm going to be reading this book in 2025. And unless something massively changes, there will absolutely be multiple POVs in this book. So this seemed like the perfect spot to stick this, since I'm absolutely going to be getting to it next year. Then I need to finish a series. So I just have to read the last book in a series. And for this, I'm going with Fire, the last book in the Septimus Heap series. Seems pretty straightforward, given that you've already seen me mention a few other books in that series on this TBR. So this is just a tentative TBR. It may change throughout the year because I've mentioned a lot of books that aren't even out yet, so their release dates could get changed. So this is absolutely flexible, and my reading plans may change. I could DNF a series before I get to a book I've mentioned, because I certainly didn't limit myself to just the next book in the series. If you want to take part, again, check out the announcement video and get all of the details. We would love to have you. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys decide to read for the prompts on this board. Are any of the books I mentioned in this video part of series you're in the midst of? If so, let me know in the comment section below. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me bear emojis. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!